Now when all of this was finished, all Israel who were present went out to the cities of Judah and smashed the pagan pillars, obelisks, memorial stones in pieces, cut down the Asherim, wooden symbols of a female deity, and tore down the high places and the altars of idolatry throughout all Judah and Benjamin, as well as in Ephraim and Manasseh, until they had destroyed them all. Then all the sons, descendants of Israel, returned to their own cities, each to his own property. And Hezekiah appointed the divisions of the priests and the Levites by their divisions, each in accordance with his service, both the priests and Levites, for burnt offerings and for peace offerings, to minister and to give thanks and to praise in the gates of the camp of the Lord. Hezekiah also appointed the king's personal portion of his goods for the morning and evening burnt offerings, and the burnt offerings for the Sabbaths, and for the new moons, and for the appointed feasts, as it is written in the law of the Lord. He also ordered the people living in Jerusalem to give the portion that was due to the priests and Levites, so that they might be free to devote themselves to the law of the Lord. As soon as the king's order spread, the Israelites gave in abundance the first fruits of grain, new wine, olive oil, honey, and of all the produce of the field. And they brought in the tithe of everything abundantly. The sons of Israel and Judah, who lived in the cities of Judah, also brought in the tithe of oxen and sheep, and the tithe of sacred gifts, which were consecrated to the Lord their God, and placed them in heaps. In the 3rd month, at the end of wheat harvest, they began to make the heaps, and they finished them in the 7th month. When Hezekiah and the rulers came and saw the heaps, they blessed the Lord and his people Israel. Then Hezekiah questioned the priests and Levites about the heaps. Azariah, the high priest of the house of Zadok, answered him, "Since the people began to bring the offerings into the house of the Lord, we have had enough to eat, with plenty left over. For the Lord has blessed his people, and this great quantity is left over." Then Hezekiah told them to prepare rooms for storage in the house of the Lord, and they prepared them. They faithfully brought in the contributions, the tithes, and the sacred, dedicated things. Canaaniah the Levite was in charge of them, and Shimei his brother was second in authority. Jehiel, Azaziah, Nahath, Asahel, Jerimoth, Jozabad, Eliel, Ismachia, Mahath, and Benaiah were overseers, directed by Conaniah and Shimei his brother, by the appointment of King Hezekiah, and Azariah was the chief officer of the house of God. Kor, the son of Imnah the Levite, keeper of the east gate, was in charge of the voluntary offerings to God, to apportion the contributions for the Lord and the most holy things. Under his authority were Eden, Minimum, Jeshua, Shemaiah, Amariah, and Shechaniah, in the cities of the priests, to distribute faithfully their portions to their brothers, relatives by divisions, whether great or small, without regard to their genealogical registration, to the males from 30 years old and upward, everyone who entered the house of the Lord for his daily obligations, for their service, in accordance with their duties, by their divisions, as well as the priests, who were registered genealogically, according to their fathers' households, and the Levites, from 20 years old and upward, by their duties, and by their divisions. The genealogical registration included all their little children, their wives, and their sons and daughters, for the whole assembly, because they consecrated themselves faithfully in holiness. Also for the sons of Aaron the priests, who were in the pasture lands of their cities, or in each and every city, there were men who were designated by name, to give portions to every male among the priests, and to everyone genealogically registered among the Levites. This is what Hezekiah did throughout Judah, and he did what was good, right, and true, before the Lord his God. Every work which he began in the service of the house of God, in keeping with the law and the commandment, seeking and inquiring of his God, and longing for him, he did with all his heart, and prospered.